Okay, so this is just not a full length gentle Pilates class, but we'll see how we get on. We'll see how this works out. It's mainly for keeping and strengthening rather the core, but stripping it back to basics. A lot of the Pilates and core stability work I do now is quite advanced. As you could appreciate, we've been delivering Pilates classes for many years, and people's cores are naturally getting stronger. But there are also a lot of people who have issues with their core, sort of postnatal, and mums have issues, especially if they've had a C-section. People have lower back issues, and especially at this time when people are perhaps carrying a lot more stress and anxiety than they'd like to, and this can very well affect areas in the lower back and the core region. So the region that we're looking at is here. Okay, it's called the transverse abdominis, and it composes of the transverse process, the multifidus, which is around the lower back, which comes around, and the internal obliques. It's like an internal corset, and all these muscles are quite deep inside the body, and they make up this this core that we are always referring to about keeping a nice healthy core. So these muscles are quite difficult for people to target if they're not used to them, or if indeed they've been injured. All right, so if we strip things back to basics and look at this lesson in a way where we're looking at technique more and building up on what might be an injury or a weaker core, and actually trying to see if we can start to strengthen it by doing basic simple exercises, which may look simple, but indeed they are quite strong, and they are hopefully of use to people who need this kind of work. Okay, so all we're going to do is simple roll down, because that's a nice way to warm up the spine and the front of the body, and then most of the work is going to be on the floor on a mat, so you just need your mat and space, a little bit of space. So let's have a little look at posture. So always have a look to check your feet are hip width distance, your shoulders are down, your spine is straight, tailbone is down. So what I'm going to do is take a breath in, and as I breathe out, I'm going to imagine I'm deflating a balloon in this area. So it's back to basics. Breathe in, breathe out, and as if I'm drawing in the sides of an internal belt, pulling in the sides of the body. And all I'm doing is then I'm engaging the pelvic floor muscles. I can feel the pelvic floor muscles starting to lift and strengthen. At the same instance, I'm making sure my tailbone is pressing down. Okay, so getting my focus really on my grounding and my roots. So I can feel that tailbone right down into the ground. And this takes you through to the legs, the top of the thighs, down into the legs, into the calves, ankles and feet. So you should feel quite solid to the ground. Basically, if somebody came and tried to push me over, they'd have a bit of a job, because I'm grounding so much, but I'm using the core to do that. Okay, so it's quite important. So you need to feel the ground, you need to feel the legs, the feet on the ground, but most importantly, when you breathe out, you allow this core to set. All right, as I say, internal belt squeezes into the waist and engages these muscles, these deep postural muscles in this area. So for some people, just taking a couple of deep breaths and holding that is quite strong, because it's got quite an effect on your pelvic floor muscles. So just take a breath again, breathe out, and again imagine that belt is squeezing you around the waist internally. And then you relax the shoulders, relax the back of the neck, don't tip the head forward or lean back. Keep pressing the tail down and really feel your feet really pushing down into the ground. You can open your toes, your knees are off lock, so they're nice and soft. All the time you're breathing and you're focusing on this sensation of drawing in the waist and allowing these muscles to really start to engage. And you're working just by doing that. And if you did that regularly every day, just for a few minutes, you'd already start to see the benefits of this area starting to strengthen. Just every day for a few minutes, breathe in, postural check, feeling that squeeze in the pelvic floor each time you exhale, draw in the waist, tailbone presses down to the earth. Remember, don't hold your breath when you're doing it, just keep breathing. And what we're going to do is, we've got that connection now, so what we're going to do is we're going to press the chin down. We're going to just roll. Now, don't lose this connection. Don't lose it as you breathe out. It's important that you still stay connected. So you need to move slowly, otherwise if you go too quickly, you lose the connection. You're only going to go to there, and then we're going to roll up again. Still using this muscle. As you breathe out, you're still feeling that internal belt or waistband. So it's quite straightforward. Chin down, belt on, breathe out and slowly slide down. It's really good for the back of the neck as well. Don't have to go too far. What happens is people go into the spine, into the flexibility, and then they forget about the core. They just stretch out. So that's all you're going to do, is just repeat that. Make sure your shoulders are away from your ears. Tail down, chin down, breathe out. Really feel the belt now drawing in the waist. You can really feel that. Keep your tailbone down. So, I mean, more you practice, what will happen eventually is you'll still remain connected and you'll be able to get further to the ground without losing this. Remember, this is different. This is a stretch. This is a stretch. Not necessarily working the core there. I'm just stretching my back. But when I soften my knees, press my tail down, breathe out, draw in the waist, now my core is actually working. And then remembering that check-in point, that posture, and just moving from the side to side, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in. And you're literally just sliding the hand down the outer edges of your thighs, breathing out, breathing in. But connect. So remember, as you exhale, the waistband is drawing in, the tailbone is pointing down. Feel your legs and your feet on the ground. You can do that as slow as you like to make sure you connect to that core. And then we'll shake off the legs. Mobilize, shake off the arms, hands, wrists, feet just a little. Loosen the legs. So when we come down onto the floor, I often see this roll-up position. Some people like to do it with a straight leg because it doesn't hurt their thighs. Some people start with the bent knees, if you can see that, and the spine straight. Now, again, remember what we're strengthening. We're strengthening the core. So it's not about the stretch in this, it's about strength. So we're going to place the hands just behind the knees and lift the body up so it's straight. Make sure you can feel the soles of the feet on the floor when you lift. And when you press the chin down, you're going to exhale and still you've got that belt on. You can feel it. The belt is on and you move back. And then you breathe in and you come up slowly. Make sure that you lengthen the spine and drop the shoulders. And then quite simply, chin down. It's really taking this back to basic. But it has to be that way if you're injured or if you have a weak core. So you have to really start to have a good relationship with the body, communicate well with yourself, and notice that you're working within your own limits. So you then can float the arms out. And if you really, want to test the water, when you go back again, try and take a couple of breaths and maintain this feeling of the squeeze of the belt on. Just a couple of breaths. And then slowly come up. And that's quite hard. When you strip it back and you really focus, you realise just how hard Pilates is. A lot of us really skip the deep connections with Pilates when we do our core work, and we go more into other muscles. We're more about engaging the other muscles. So again, breathing out, take another breath. Ooh. And up. And remember, you don't want to do too many, so you might just want to do a couple of those, and then you can always open the hips and then release it. And that's the stretch, so that's the release. So you relax the belly and then you just let the back have a nice stretch. And you take a couple of deep breaths. And then you come back up. Okay, so from that position, we're going to just move now onto your backs, finding a neutral spine position. So how to do that? Well, tilt and then press down. Breathe in, breathe out. So you can see I'm actually tilting the pelvis on this. Actually, this is going to do me a world of good, because I've lacked stability in my body, and this will help with stability for everybody, especially at this time when people are feeling anxious. And then when you get to a neutral spine, I want you to engage that core by breathing out and feeling the belt apply itself again. Breathe in, breathe out. And again, you can feel that quite connected. Well, I can straight away. Now, just feeling that sensation of that core engaged and breathing in and out. Don't hold your breath. Never hold your breath. But each time I breathe out, I keep thinking of the belt internally. Now, the key to good stability and strength, bringing things back to basics, is checking that the soles of the feet are firmly on the floor, not sort of toes up or just casually there. You need to feel your feet. And the more you can press the soles of your feet in, the more you're going to connect here as well.
It's very grounding. And you can actually visualize the power of your own visual sense of self actually strengthening these muscles, these deep set muscles, each time you exhale. Really feel the power within you as you repair these muscles. So it's very straightforward, but it's quite deep and it really works. And when you progress, you would then hold this setup and just try and float one foot off the floor. Trust me, you'll feel that straight away. And with that 1 foot, look, you've only got it on the off the floor literally about an inch. Yeah. And after about 3 breaths, you place the foot down, and then you're going to float the other foot. You don't lose a displacement. You stay connected. You stay with your breath, and you breathe. You never lose your neutral spine. The neutral spine has to remain in its natural arch throughout. So remember to strengthen and deepen further 1 foot. Eventually, as you get stronger here, you will be able to add 1 and then the other without displacing this. Trust me, that's hard. Keep breathing. The feet are literally hanging about an inch above the floor. So they should be. Now I can really feel that now. I'm deeply connected. And if it's too strong, you put 1 foot down, then the other, and you'll still stay connected, because it's like a switch. You've actually switched on the muscles. So you'll still feel it. It's remarkable. You know, you just got to activate it. You find it, you switch it on, and then you work with it. The key thing is to send a message to the rest of the body not to tense. So you want the shoulders relaxed, the back of the head relaxed, the arms, the hands. You don't need tension anywhere else. It's just here. But make sure you're breathing. Now you can repeat and continue with this for a few minutes longer if you feel okay, but it's quite strong. And you will feel when you deactivate yourself and relax a sense of release and relief. But it's very, very strong. It's very powerful, but it will have a deepening, healing and repairing effect on these muscles. And when you do relax, look, let's come into a butterfly position and allow this area to open, this psoas muscle to really stretch and relax. And breathe into your belly to soften it, and to appreciate the difference between maintaining core awareness and strength, and then the difference between letting that go and just relaxing. And you know, you'll feel the difference straight away. Just breathe naturally. You don't need to internalize the belt. You just enjoy the opening and stretching. So then you can always repeat the same exercise again. Remember, just doing this kind of work a couple of times a week, or try and do it every day if you can, will see a remarkable effect on how these muscles will knit together and start to repair and strengthen. Breathing out, the belt is on. It's like an abdominal scoop. Maintain it and use the power of your visualization in your mind. Each time you're breathing out, you're repairing and healing these muscles in your body. And again, when you feel you need to or sort of add that extra intensity, 1 foot, maybe 2, just keep 1 foot. If there's any displacement here, or if you feel there's a sense of letting go, put 1 foot and then the second foot back down, so that you're not impinging your lower back. This is a great exercise if you have lower back issues as well. And again, the release comes here, opening out, softening the belly, allowing the breath to move a little deeper, a little bit more natural within you, and relaxing these muscles. So you bring the feet together, you can stretch out the legs. I've got a wall behind me, I'm going to press against the wall and push against it to stretch through the body. Have a full body stretch. And release. If you bend the knees now and mobilize through the lower back, and then gently come onto the side. When you come up onto all fours, just to iron out the back, allow the belly to soften, but allow your spine to lengthen and look straight in front. And then exhale and just press your tail right down, arch the back into cat, breathing out. And then breathing in as you extend out. And feel the tail lengthen, and then breathe out again. Really press the tail down. And breathe in. The slower the better. Really good for the back, but also good for the core. Breathe out, scoop. Breathe in and extend. So you need to be slow, go slowly, key in to the body. And then when you hold, lengthen the spine, lengthen the neck. Don't drop the head, just look straight ahead. Move the shoulders away from the ears and stretch the whole length of the spine. Take another breath. And then bring your feet together, bring your knees together and just sit back. And bring the hands round into child pose, rest the forehead down to the mat. Relax the core, deep breath. And then what I tend to do with students, especially if they have issues or if they're new to this kind of work, is come into this almost sphinx pose with the shoulders away from the ears and the elbows soft. And take a couple of deep breaths here for a moment. And what I'm going to do is just press the tail down. So I'm going to press my bottom down as I'm pressing my hip joints into the floor. Now I'm going to breathe out. And I'm going to pull the belt around my waist internally again. And as I pull the belt around my waist, I'm going to feel the front of my pelvis trying to lift slightly away from the mat. I'm going to take another breath. Breathe out. Now this is getting quite strong. Because each time I breathe out, I'm drawing in that internal belt, pressing my tailbone right down to the earth, but also trying to make some space between the mat and my pelvis. Everything is focusing on the core now, the lower back, the front of the pelvis as well. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, lengthen the back of the neck. And trust me, I'm actually shaking doing this. I am actually shaking. Exhale, waistband draws right in. For me, I'm ready to come out. But again, when you practice, you could hold it for a little bit longer. But make sure that the emphasis is always on the core, not the upper body, not the legs, the core. To release it, I'm going to bend the knees, come up, and I'm just going to enjoy a nice stretch by sliding the hands out and just, oh lovely, forehead down, giving the back a really good stretch, even the shoulders as well, the back of the neck and the shoulders. You can relax the abdomen and the belly here. Couple of deep breaths. Slowly bring the hands back in. Come round. So, it's about being patient and going slow, because there's no cutting the corners. You can't just fix something overnight if it's obviously been a problem for a while. But by breaking things down and doing things slowly, be patient with yourself, and also remember where your mindset is working. Don't be distracted. Always consider when you're doing core work, am I in my core, or am I up in my head, or am I thinking of my arms or my shoulders, or am I thinking of other parts of my body? My priority when I'm doing this work is that I have to stay connected to this. And here, just sitting up straight and just taking a deep breath in, breathing out, I'm engaging my core again, and I can feel that strength here, the sides, as well as deep into the pelvis. Make sure that the spine is nice and straight. And what I'm going to show you is just a little twist to it, to try to get the internal obliques to work. We've done the front and the back, we haven't done the sides. And so we exhale, pull up through the navel, and then just exhale, twist. Just look to the right. Breathe in again. Lift up through the core, exhale, waistband on. And again, make sure those shoulders are staying nice and low, away from the ears. Breathe out again. Lift up through the core. Try to really connect to the sides of the body. And again, it's quite difficult to really stay with this, but it works, and you don't need to do a lot of it. You only need to do a few reps and then just relax it. It's an important thing. Pilates is what we've learned over the years, is people are, can get quite strong, but they also get very short of breath, because this is what I found actually myself, because you do feel quite tense sometimes when you try to connect. A lot of people just don't breathe into the core. They just try to hold it in so much that they're not getting the oxygen into the areas. You need to relax and breathe. And again, anything that this should release the back of the body afterwards is good. Deep breath in, nice long exhale out. Feels nice. Mobilize the shoulders. Shake off the legs.
And that's it. That really is it. It's keeping it simple, keeping it basic, keeping it a basic technique. But with something like that, it needs to be practiced regularly, and if you stay on top of it and practice it regularly, you will see massive differences and changes in the condition of the core, especially if you're trying to repair any part of this part of your body. Okay, so give it a go, take your time with it, check your breathing, check your setup, check where you are working. Don't be carried away with any other part of your body. Your focus is always here. Power of visualization is excellent in repairing the body. Okay,